think at this stage of the game, I know just about everybody in the room, but just in case I haven't met some of you, I'm Jay's dad, and Margaret and I are just absolutely delighted to welcome all of you to this most happy occasion. We're just so pleased to have everybody here. Want to welcome especially Kathy and Dan and all of your family and friends, and thank you folks for all of the wonderful hospitality you have extended to us here in Hickory back in March and now again tonight and this weekend. I want to also welcome our own family and friends, many of whom are far-flung and have come from a long distance from Richmond and Kentucky and Nashville, Tennessee, and we don't get to see all of these folks as often as we'd like. And we're delighted to have all of you here as well. And last but hardly least, I want to welcome the wedding party, all 35 of you, however many there are. It's quite proud. And I think I'd like to give a special welcome to the groomsmen, if I may. You may wonder why I'm doing that. Some of you may know that Jay had his bachelor party last night. I was invited but was not able to attend. I'm grateful for that. And it gave me an opportunity in my hotel room to pray for the others for the evening. But we're delighted especially to have all of you folks. And we look forward to a great evening. We'll have a nice dinner and then come back and hopefully have some toast. And at this time, I'd like to ask Reverend Johnson if he would return thanks. And I think I've got to give you this microphone, Reverend.
Thank you, Al. Let us pray together. Gracious God, at this happy time, we bow before you and give you thanks for the precious gift of life. We thank you for Molly and for Jay and for all the gifts that you have given them. We thank you for your providential care which has brought them together. We thank you for your commitment to them as they begin this new chapter in their life. We thank you for these two families, and we pray that you would continue to nurture them and encourage them as they look forward to this happy and sacred occasion tomorrow. We thank you for family and for friends and for what they mean to Jay and to Molly. We thank you for this fellowship and for this food and for the opportunity to make new friends. We commit ourselves into your care and ask you to give us your joy and your peace. In the name of Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Bon appetit. Be the service like 4:30.
I'm wanting the pictures out for Mother.
You're going to stay out and San Francisco?
Folks, we want to have a few toasts. Again, welcome to everybody. I hope you enjoyed dinner. I know I did. And thanks to Kathy and Dan and their family for doing all of the pre-testing and the choosing of the menu, because it was absolutely delicious. I want to propose the first toast, and it's an honor to do so, to Jay and Molly. But first, I'd like to make just a couple of comments, and I won't be long-winded. I won't keep you long here. But I wanted to issue a couple of thank yous, and the first one goes to you, Jay. You know, I think some of you, maybe not all of you, but probably a lot of you know something about the manner in which Jay proposed marriage to Molly. They say like father, like son, but that's not always true. When I proposed marriage to Margaret, I think I turned to her and said something like, hey, why don't we get married? That seems like a good idea. And she looked at me like I was crazy, but eventually agreed. Jay did it with a lot more flair. I'm not sure I've got this entirely straight, but I think this is generally what happened. Jay went out and bought a kite. That's right, a kite, K-I-T-E, and a string to go with the kite. And he had an engagement ring, and he put the ring way up on the string of the kite. And then when Molly and he were out in San Francisco about a year ago, he took Molly with the kite and the string and the ring on the string, and Molly knew nothing about this at the time, out into, as I remember, it was a field overlooking San Francisco Bay on a windy day, got the kite up in the air, and eventually handed it to Molly, at which time, by some true miracle, Reverend, that I don't fully understand, the ring slid down the string into the hands of a surprised Molly. Picture this scene, folks. They're out in a field, the wind is blowing, Alcatraz Island is over here somewhere, the kite is blowing like crazy, and there's a ring up on the string. One false move and the whole thing would have gone to the Aleutian Island or somewhere. What I want to thank you for, Jay, is not telling your mother and me about this in advance. Not telling us about that loony stunt in advance. And I can tell you that you probably added at least 4 years to our respective lives by doing that. I thank you very much. The second thank you I want to give is to Kathy and Dan and David for letting our family share Molly. And Molly, most of all to you for your willingness and decision to join our family. We just couldn't be happier. I'm not, as those of you who know me know, I'm not a person who likes movies a lot, but I like a few movies. I like a few movies an awful lot, and one recent movie that I like a great deal is Forrest Gump. And my favorite character in Forrest Gump is his mother, played by Sally Field, you may remember. She just does a wonderful job of that. And at one particularly pointed point in that movie, she turns to Forrest and says, Forrest, you know, life is like a box of chocolates. You never really know what you're going to get. And that's true. And I think it's true of a lot of things, and it's true of one's children's choices of their husbands and wives. Well, let me tell you, folks, Margaret and Chris and I got the best chocolate in the box. We got the one wrapped up in gold foil, and Molly, I just can't begin to tell you how happy and overjoyed we are that you have decided to join our family. You are just absolutely the tops, and we're just so wonderfully happy to welcome you to our group. And I would say that incidentally, even if Molly and Kathy were not the only other Bobby Knight fans in the entire Southeast US. So, ladies and gentlemen, a toast to Molly and Jay. May your lives together be extraordinarily long and extraordinarily happy. Hear, hear. Hear. Finish, Jay. Okay, we hope there'll be some more. We've got to remember to pass the microphone. Ken will shove us if we don't do that.
I don't know if you can hear me. This is not my specialty, making speeches, but I want to propose a simple toast to Jay and Molly. Before I do that, I want to thank Al and Margaret for this lovely dinner tonight. Wonderful setting. It's just we've been looking forward to this weekend for months in our family, and it was just delightful. Also want to thank Al and Margaret for their taking care of our daughter while she's been in Richmond for the last 4 years. They have been her parents and we felt very, very secure with that, and they've just been very, very delightful. And you know, when we live about 300 miles apart, Richmond and Hickory, but really we've gotten to know the Broadduses in the short time, I think, as quickly as any, I guess, in-laws could really do. And Kathy and I have talked about the similarities of our families already, even though we're going to start a new family tomorrow. And those similarities I'd like to share with you a little bit. Some of them are unique, at least I think so. And you know, most of you know that both of our families have 2 children. That is not so unique. But Margaret and Al and Kathy and I started our lives together the same year, in 1966. We were both married the same year. Also, you might know, most of you know that I came from Indiana. Kathy came from Indiana. I received my postgraduate education at Indiana University, and so did Al. Also, most of you know that Molly was born in Indiana. But most of you don't know, at least from people from Indiana, our family, that Jay was also born in Indiana. Right off. Some of you know that Kathy and I, or our family, certainly our family, would probably travel 100 miles to see Indiana University play basketball. But you don't really, a lot of you don't know that Al and his family do the same. Now,
Not many of us.
And there are not that many people that would probably support that in this room, probably. But anyway, we have a lot of similarities in our family already, and we're certainly looking forward to cultivating those and enriching our families in the next many, many years. And we're certainly looking forward to that. But for Jay and Molly, Jay is, we just think the world of Jay. Kathy and I, we first met him, and he was extremely pleasant. We had a tough time when we started out. We had a lot of illness when we first met him. He came to our house, and we had some rocky times with health and so forth. But Jay just worked right through this, and he's a special young man, and I really mean that. He's got wonderful qualities that a lot of young men don't have in this generation. He really does. And Kathy and I we couldn't have picked anybody, even if we tried, better than Jay. For Molly, well, I can't express, I probably won't be able to express too many words how we feel about her, but Kathy and I, her life with Jay will be, I'm sure, full of happiness. I don't think there's any question about that. I think one thing, if any of you really ever wanted a daughter, or could only have one daughter, you'd be very, very lucky to have them all. She's a gem, and I want to propose a toast to many years of happiness, and good luck. You're here.
Here, here.
Okay, Grace.
I'd like to take over.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'll be very good with the mic because I need to gesticulate quite a bit. That's a word I learned in college. I was an English major. One of the few things that I retain. At any rate, when I do need to gesticulate, I'll just have Molly's always been good at helping me out. Molly and I met in nursery school at Corinth Church, and it was, of course, love at first sight. And I still remember the first time she came over to my house. It was a dark and stormy day, it really was. And I guess I was a little I was a little grouchy that day, and that was probably because, I guess I found out later when Kathy came to pick up Molly, my mother told her I was T-I-R-E-D. And it was because the first thing I wanted Molly to do was to play a game that I like a lot called Let's Take a Nap. But she didn't want to, being of genes of Jane Fonda and Doc Jock descent. So when I came to and woke up a little bit later, my mother had been playing blocks and hopscotch and who knows what all with Molly. So she left, and I somehow managed to get her to come back and play with me again. This time it was a beautiful, bright, sunny day. And Molly has a bad habit of doing this. She still does it. She'll turn on lights, overhead lights and lamps. And there you go. See, someone over here knows. Anyone else? Yes. She'll turn on lights and just, I don't know why she wants to illuminate the room, you know, with electricity when it's a beautiful day. But she did that, and I grew up with a mother who still does this. She hates overhead lights. So, I didn't know really why she didn't like overhead lights. She always made us turn on lamps. But Molly came in my bedroom and turned on the overhead light. And I said, I was thinking about it and I thought, well, tell her that my mom doesn't really like it isn't a very good excuse for a 4-year-old. So I had to be, like, have a good reason. So I said, Molly, you just turned on the emergency light. And she's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I didn't turn on the emergency light. And so well, pretty soon the house is going to be surrounded by the police, ambulances, Wonder Woman, and James Bond. Molly fled in terror. I didn't think I'd ever see her again. Well, anyway, she got me back because the first time I went to her house, I think that we had to do aerobics and lay out in the sun when we were like 5 years old and get a sun dance. But the point of that story is twofold. Number one, playing Let's Take a Nap is still a great game. And second of all, that Molly is a wonderful friend because at that youthful age, she put up with me. Decided to come on back, which is great. But probably the best thing about being best friends with Molly for a little over 22 years now is, besides knowing things like on a ride from Hickory to Indiana when she actually tried to lay out in the sun out the window of the car and got retinal burning damage to her eyes so she had a suntan. She is a tanorexic, you know. But she's in recovery, I think. We have a whole list of esoteric jokes and meanings and gestures, and it really began in full force when we were probably middle school. And Molly and I decided that we needed to be able to articulate and to know what was going on across the room because no teachers would put us beside each other anymore. We had to be across the room. So Molly would do something like this. She would say, well, well, she would gesture to me first like, I finally look up because I was ensconced in my studies, as you know. I would look up and she would do this. Which meant that Eric Hamby and Chad Lala looked really cute today. And Chip Brown looked bad. He had ugly hair. Nobody knew that, did they? Well, it hasn't changed much because recently, like today, Molly says to me, which means, I like your outfit, where'd you get it? To which I answered, which means, don't tell Ski I charged it. Thank God for the code. Anyway, this is a list. It's really for Molly's sake, but it's a little list of words that has been shortened from infancy onward that she'll know, and maybe some of you will too, but I'm going to read them. Choppers and peepers, the muddy tree torn, ham sandwich, cabbie, broomstick, dwarfy tops, worm, flanks and backpack. PTPs is our name, sneaking around is our game. The Holly Bush, Johnny Tremaine, my robot buddy, Uncle Wiggly game, Brownie Scout Troop 253, brochures, neat, beep, beep, and free, tickets, BC, Sunday stats, may the best woman win. Emergency light, Chutch, it's my sister. Brochures, Faggy, Fish Eyes, He, Chateau, Beauty by Our Uglies, 4-H Babysitters, Miss Norris, Grub Night, I Spy, Thony, BFF, BFA, Mexican Mustache, Lily 1, 2, and 3, The Hamster Cage, Lydia Lou, Pegasus, Patrick needs a bra, Blue Jockeys, Shower Hour, Booby D, She Scares Me, Holden Beach, Best Friends Remix Sisters. I love you, my precious friend. And Jay, I love you. You're about as perfect as a boy can be. But mostly, I love you because you know what a wonderful, thoughtful, caring, beautiful person that Molly is. And I'm so happy for you both because this is so right. And I'm so happy for these wonderful families who are merging. And I wish you a long and happy life together. To Molly and Jay.
You want these, David? How? David, you want your champagne? I picked it up at Mr. Sorry.
I would like to take just a moment for a diminishing but tremendously enthusiastic group here, the greats and the grands, grandfathers, great uncles, what have you, that are great and grand, at least in the terminology. And I would like to speak, if I may, for that group, and there are several of us here, who wish Molly and Jay the most wonderful years that we have shared and which we're sure that you will share. And here is to your health, your happiness, and may you have many, many years together. Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
I'd like to take this opportunity first to thank so many wonderful people for appearing here and making this such a special occasion and being here to celebrate. Just a tremendous group here. So many people I haven't seen in a while and glad to see. I have a brief follow-up to the anecdote my father was telling earlier about the manner in which Jay proposed to Molly. In my short 24 years, I have bared witness as Jay, time and again, has engaged himself in some fairly ambitious and odd tasks. So it came as no surprise when he proposed this method to me for engineering the scheme to propose to Molly. And he showed up with his kite. This was actually in Boulder, Colorado last summer, where I was living briefly after graduating. And Jay shows up with his kite and wants me to go to the reservoir, which is supposed to be the great place to fly kites in Boulder. And I watched as he frustratingly engaged himself in engineering this ring scheme, and thankfully at this point he was practicing with a lifesaver and not the actual ring. And I watched, and as matters turned out, it was absolutely windless. I mean, there was no wind in Boulder that day. There was not enough wind to put out a wet candle. And I watched Jay try to convince himself that he was Ben Johnson and run back and forth and try to fly his lifesaver for 3 hours. And we got some odd looks, and I just kind of sat on the sideline and tried to divorce myself from the situation and put a smile on. And he never actually did get that lifesaver to fly. I don't think Carl Lewis on his fastest of days in 1984 could have flown that lifesaver. Regardless, I sent him off and he packed his bags and went on to meet Molly in San Francisco and found himself probably pretty ill-prepared for the gale force winds of the Bay Area. And were it not for a few prayers that were answered, a tour guide at Alcatraz might well be wearing that ring. So all's well that ends well, and we're so glad that the ring is on Molly's finger. And on that note, I also would just like to take a moment to welcome Molly to our family. Just absolutely a terrific person, and we just love her and couldn't ask for anything more. Just such a special occasion, and the only thing I can think that made me wonder a little bit about Molly was her readiness to accept this division of the Broadus family, and so readily accept all our little idiosyncrasies. And we're glad. We won't ask why. We're just glad you did. And I would like to propose a toast to the bride and groom. May they have eternal happiness, achieve all their goals and life's ambitions, and forever have love.
You're here.
Well, Molly, being the youngest in our family, and the girl, we tended to be a bit protective, especially myself, of her. We're also a bit of an analytical bunch, if you don't know that already. We tend to look at things and break them down into small pieces and look over and over and over at them. And Molly's relationships with her boyfriends was no different. We would sit around the kitchen table and we'd analyze these relationships, if you can call them that, and you know, these poor boys would be dissected like, you know, frogs in a high school science lab. I mean, it was awful. But that all changed when Jay entered the scene. And it's not that we stopped being analytical. I mean, if you've taken a look at Mother's wedding notebooks, you know how they're more detailed than the U.S. tax code. But what happened was that there was something different about Jay, and Molly and Jay together. And it wasn't that they had more than just the love and affection necessary for a good relationship. It's more of a mutual understanding of each other, and like a common philosophy in life, where they want to go, what they want to be, and what they want to do. And all these things together, I think, helped us, especially me, alleviate our need to protectively analyze the situation and spend hours talking about, you know, Jay's every move and gesture. And especially for myself, it's because I know that with Jay, Molly will be in good hands. So I'd like to have the toast to my sister and her future husband from a protective but relieved brother.
Who's next, folks? Somebody's up. Oh, sorry.
Hi, first I want to thank Mr. and Ms. Broadus and Dr. Ms. Dillon for putting on this wonderful, fabulous wedding weekend. I'm really happy to be here and honored as well. And now I just want to share some words with you all, and I think this sums up the way I feel about Mom. Sorry. More and more as time goes by, I can count my richest treasures. The friends who have come and stayed a while with me. Friends whose love and loyalty no words can ever measure. The ones who have walked with me the extra mile with me. For I've been blessed with many friends in different places and learned the worth of all things real and true. And most of all, I've learned the worth of dear and familiar faces, old friends, good friends, lifelong friends like you. So here's to lifelong friends. Pass this on now. I don't know how I follow that, but before I begin my official toast, I want to tell Molly that from the bottom of my heart, you've been one of the greatest sources of support I've ever had in my life, and I want to thank you for everything that you've done for me the past few years. And now I'm going to read my toast. And it begins, we were studying one night and it was raining. I wanted to go out, but Molly was complaining. I turned on the music and we started to sing. I called Kirk and he said, "A friend I will bring." We went to the slip where Kirk was a dip. He called Lisba Melba, and then she yelled us. Next came dancing at 1708. Little did we know, this was a night of fate. A ring on my phone I received the next day. Kirk was calling about a number for Jay. Then a date was set, the time and a place. They'd meet again, face to face. They went on their date. It was quite a hit. Molly was so excited she could hardly even sit. As time went on, Molly's love for Jay became clear, especially after she'd had a lot of beer. On one such occasion, under a tree, Molly remarked, "Jay's the guy for me." Then from their jobs, they needed a break. A flight to San Francisco they did take. In a beautiful park, a kite they did fly, and a big diamond ring caught Molly's eye. Too bad that diamond was stuck. It certainly figures with Jay's luck. Finally, Jay got that diamond free. He looked at Molly and plopped down on one knee. So now together we gather, both family and friends, to witness your pledge of love to the end. Let's all take a glass and lift it above to toast Molly and Jay's everlasting love.
You're so creative.
Jay and Molly, I really tonight wanted to give you guys some marital advice, but my wife Amy assured me that I was really not the one to be giving you guys advice on marriage. So with that note, I do feel qualified though, having known Jay and been best of friends with Jay for the last 10 years or so. I can give you, Molly, a few insights or a little advice on your groom, Jay. Firstly, when you guys moved to Charlottesville, you got your house, please, Molly, do yourself a favor. Get anywhere from 3 to 5 sets of spare keys and hide them. Because I guarantee you Jay will lose his keys, he'll lose your keys, and any spare keys he can find, so just save yourself the trouble now. Second, as you know, Jay is quite an outdoorsman, and especially he loves to canoe. And over the years I've been on numerous canoe trips with him, and I can honestly say that I think I've spent more time actually in the water than floating on the water. So please wear your life preserver at all times. I really didn't know that the Dillons also share the Indiana basketball mania that I know the Brawleses do. So this is something that you can use when Jay is really sitting on the couch, you know, he's not maybe helping out with the housework, or he's not mowing the lawn, you know, you really want to get him out there to do something, he's just not doing anything. You need to march out, get a picture of Bobby Knight, bring it back to him and say, Jay, get off the couch, Coach Bobby Knight said so. So I know that'll get some results. And also there's the last thing I want to point out, Jay has a fear. I think this story will come out in more detail tonight. I hope one of the guys will tell the story. But Jay has a real fear of large man-eating rats that sometimes occupy the houses he lives in. So make sure that every night before going to bed, let them see you checking all the vents in the house. Let them know there are no large rats to be found, and I think that'll make for a pure existence. On a serious note, everyone I think can see how wonderful you guys are together, and Amy, my wife, joins me in wishing you guys many, many years of happiness. To Jay and Molly. Write them down.
My name is Carter Lee. I met Jay in 1990 behind the Phi Kappa Sigma house at Washington and Lee. We were both, actually I was a freshman, he was a sophomore, we were both going through Rush. And kind of immediately, as I got to know Jay, I realized I thought of Jay as a soulmate. We had a lot of similarities besides our love for music and the outdoors. It turned out that Jay's father not only went to Washington and Lee with my dad, but ended up being in the same class, same fraternity. Actually, much to Jay and my dismay, my dad and Mr. Broadus here had a pledge trainer whose son ended up being our pledge trainer at WNL. So we both went through the same torture for a year.
It was rough.
It was. But, you know, I'm here to say that I'm happy to report upon a new similarity, and that is that Jay has found a partner to share the rest of his life with, his true soulmate. And just wanted to absolutely raise our glasses and toast to these two. And pass Jay on to really a worthy successor. And cheers to both of you. Hope you have a wonderful day.
Here, here, here.
We had to write ours down. It was a hot August day, our first time at Wake. Molly had just come from her favorite place, the Fake Bake. Oh, Annie.
With copper-toned skin and a bow in her hair, she made her entrance into the third-floor hall we shared.
Best friends we all became, an eclectic bunch we are. Early on we found our common link, late night chats, and closing down bars.
Our lives were filled with tailgates, parties, and guys. Molly was the one who was smart, relationship-wise.
She dated many, yet held her cards close by. Winning Molly's heart was something many did try.
Molly knew that one day her prince would come, so her college days were for raising hell and having fun.
So the guys realized girlfriends were number one on the top of her list. Broken hearts were common to the guys she dissed.
Our shoulders have felt many different tears, and sob stories have been heard by both sets of ears.
But Jay, thank God you finally came. Or you finally come. Because our shoulders are weary and can't handle another one.
With you, there's only laughter, happiness, and love. By beating out those weight guys, you are so far above.
So with great pride, we offer you the honorable seat with our eclectic bunch at all the cool places we meet.
We wish you the best with our friend Molly D, because happy we know you guys will always be.
So let's raise our glasses to a delightful match.
Hear, hear, and cheers. Jay, you've got a great catch.
Here, here.
My name is John Hunter, and growing up in one of the Western world's great cultural meccas, for those of you that don't know me, I'm from Lynchburg, Virginia. I had heard of Richmond often as I came along, and really the only time I visited Richmond was playing sports. I'd go down in high school, my sports teams would play teams in Richmond, and you know, whether we won or lost really wasn't the issue. I didn't really have any great fond thoughts of people from Richmond. So you can imagine my dismay when I went to college and I found myself over the first couple weeks in fraternity that was at least 50% Richmond people. It was a bit of an adjustment, but time wore on and I found that if you can be tolerant and turn a blind eye to some of their personal hygiene, you can at at times we can overcome things. And Jay Broadus, who I'm toasting here tonight, is one big reason. Over the past 10 years, I don't think I've had a better friend. He's a great guy. He's got a wonderful family. And he is engaged to be married to a wonderful person. So I would like to propose a toast to all of them, and I look forward to many happy returns in the future. Thanks.
Decorum probably prevents me from listening, but we've seen plenty. We all know how intelligent Jay is and what a great man he is, and I'm proud to be his friend. But obviously, he's made one very good decision, and we're very proud. Very good luck to both you and Molly. Love you both.
I'm Bill Broadus, and I'm with my wife, very fortunate opportunity to be the first cousins of Margaret and Al Broadus, and we appreciate very much the opportunity to be here tonight. No way I could try to exceed the comments of my godson Chris in terms of the humor, but I hope that 25 years from now, that our children, and Molly and Jay's children, can be as proud of our cousins as we are of Al and Margaret and the Dillons. And if I may be so bold as to say on behalf of the Colemans, the Limleys, the Broaduses, thank you for the wonderful opportunity to be here tonight. Molly, we're so happy. This is just extraordinary, wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate an extraordinary opportunity. And Jay, God, you're lucky. And so, on behalf of our families, thank you for the opportunity. And please remember to stay in touch, and may families continually unite and support each other with love, support, and devotion in times of difficulties and times of joy. And 25 years from now, hopefully we can come together, celebrate similar occasions for our grandchildren. Thank you all.
Go on here. I see somebody
Not
coming.
yet, not yet. Don't turn it off yet.
Thank you.
I'd like to just first thank Mr. and Mrs. Broadus and Dr. and Mrs. Dillon for letting me be a part of a very special moment this weekend. If you guys will indulge me for just a second, I'd like to pass on some words of wisdom that have been passed on from generation to generation in my family. And if you could stand up, actually, I'd appreciate it. First, I ask that, I hope that, come on, you have to stand too, dear. Oh, you bet. You two go. Two are a pair now. It's not just one. That your love for each other, is this thing still on?
Yeah.
Continues to grow stronger with each passing day. Molly, may you remember. Jay. Molly, may you remember this day as the happiest day for the rest of your life. And Jay, hope you remember this moment, because it will be the last time, positively, absolutely, that you have the upper hand.
when I made eye contact with Jay, he squirmed a little bit. So I'm going to tell a story that he's probably not too psyched about, but somebody referenced it in their speech. So I want to let you know what it's about. First of all, I want to say how happy I am for the two of you. I mean, you're a great couple. I know you're going to have a wonderful life together, and we're all happy for you. Now, that being said, I think if you ever need something done, you know, you can probably pull one over on Jay pretty easily. When I was a sophomore in college and Jay was a junior, we lived in a house called the Haight House. For numerous reasons, a whole other story, I won't get into that one. But Jay and I lived on the first floor, and we shared a bathroom. And as you might remember in David's speech, he referenced Jay's fear of rats. Well, what actually happened is I was going to the bathroom one day and noticed that the vent from the bathroom led into Jay's bedroom, right at the head of his bed. And there was a lacrosse stick in there, and for some reason, my twisted mind decided to go ahead and knock the vent off of the wall onto Jay's bed. So Jay's probably reading for some class, and all of a sudden the vent almost hits him in the head. And Jay comes back, and he's freaking out, you know, and I'm sitting there, and I'm trying to contain my laughter, and Jay's like, I think there's a rat in the house. I think there's a big rat in the house. And I said, you know, I've seen that rat, Jay. It's big. I'm scared of it, too. So, you know, most normal people would have let Jay right off the hook there, but I was raised by two shrinks, so I got lots of issues. I took Jay on the hook, and Jay ended up spending the night in my room on the floor. And I probably should have let him off the hook the next morning, but he kept bringing it up in circles, and it was too easy. Not to tell my friends when Jay left the room, there's no rat, there's no rat. And long story short, for about a week, I think Jay was talking about the rat, and everybody at W&L but Jay knew there was no rat at all, but it was a good story, and luckily Jay's as good a man as he is to forgive me and still invite me to his wedding. But, Jay and Molly, cheers.
Hold on, Jay. I got a second. My name's George, and I'm from Richmond, and John, I get you for the personal hygiene joke. But I guess I feel somewhat privileged to be invited here to this wedding, especially to be in it after some of the excursions Jay and I have been on. Somehow I've managed to mooch my way onto a couple of vacations with Jay, several which have not turned out all that great. The first being Costa Rica, where first night we were there, somehow I convinced Jay to go to the casino. Somehow Jay managed to lose all his money that we had for the entire 2 weeks. Mr. Frost, I don't know if you ever found out about that. But anyway, the next day we get up to go on this great whitewater rafting trip. We pile into a cab. I'm saying, Jay, get out of the cab, get out of the cab. So Jay opens the door, and of course, another cab goes by and knocks the door completely off. So now Jay's in this complete predicament. He's got two cabbies yelling at him to pay for this door, and he has no money. But anyway, we made it through that. We had a great time. But the next great trip that we had was in Wyoming, or in Montana, actually. And we made it up to Montana. Somehow Jay managed to get me as his tent mate. It snowed 12 inches. As my fraternity brothers know, I hate to be cold. We were holed up in this tent, and it was 14 inches of snow out there. It was freezing, and somehow I had all the bacon and the onions in my pack. And as we talked about tonight, Jay's very afraid of large-eating bears or large-eating animals. So the bears were about to attack us, and Jay was extremely scared. So somehow I threw all the stuff out of the cab, and everything was all right. But anyway, the whole moral of the story is that, I don't know. But I'm here to say that my fiance here, Molly, and I hope that we take many more vacations with this Molly and Jay. Here's to you.
Now that we've had a chance to listen to some of our finer moments and we've learned a little bit more about Molly and I wanted to get up and to say a few words to you all and thank you all for coming. Many of you I know have come from far and wide to celebrate with us tonight. I was talking to a friend of mine a couple weeks ago who just got married herself, and she said, you know, the only advice I can give you leading up to this weekend, and it's pretty simple advice, but it's actually easier said than done with all the hoopla that surrounds a big wedding. But you should really try to focus on savoring the moment and appreciating the fact that you're gathered together in the same room with your closest family and friends, the people that have been with you for your entire life, and the weekend will go by quickly, and you'll only have this opportunity once in your life. So I'm going to try to heed that advice. I think I speak for both Molly and I when I say that it's pretty overwhelming to look out across the room right now and to see the faces of the people who have been the most important to us throughout our lives, the closest friends and family to us. And it's overwhelming. It really brings it all home. We're glad you're here, and we're looking forward to celebrating for the rest of the weekend with you. And I want to make two brief toasts. First off, I'd like to toast the Dillon family, and I would just like to let you all know David and Dr. and Mrs. Dillon and Grossi. I'm very honored, and I consider it just a great honor to be joining your family. I don't think I could have chosen a more active, close-knit group, and I'm so happy to be joining the family. And I'd like to make one brief toast to Molly, my future bride. Molly and I were talking about the rehearsal dinner a couple days ago, and she said, you know, you don't have to stand up and say that I'm the love of your life, because I know that I am. And I just want to say that, Molly, you're absolutely right. You are the love of my life. We've become best friends over the past 3.5 years, and you've made those 3.5 years the best years of my life. And I can think of nothing better, no better way to spend the remaining years of my life than to grow old with you. And I love you very much, and toast to you.
Here, 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 here. Well, anybody else? That was hard to follow. Well, again, thank all of you so much for coming. We've just really enjoyed having everybody here tonight. This has been a wonderful dinner. And as I think most of you know, we've got a party with the Bluegrass Band immediately after this dinner. And I think the band, I'm not sure where they are. I believe they're out here somewhere. But should be a fun evening, and we hope that you will stay if you can. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the big event. Thanks again for coming tonight.
Yeah.